I'm Stephen, USSR Robinson, and you're watching Sport Icons. Papa!
Okay, so nobody's done it yet, so I thought, you know what, let's just get in there and put out the entire roster for Sky Sports Boxer. Ben Shalom, John Wish, and all that kind of good stuff. So we're going to start off with the 3 cards that they have announced, 2 of which I've got posters for, the other one they haven't released it yet. But October the 2nd, headlined by Chris Eubank Jr. On the undercard will be the return of Richard Riakporhe. In fact, I've just done an interview with him. Go check out that one. So that's October the 2nd at the SSE Wembley Arena. October the 16th, my home city, Newcastle, headlined by Hughie Fury versus Christian Hammer. On the undercard as well, I've interviewed Stephen USSR Robinson, of course, a very good friend of mine, as is Georgia O'Connor. They're on the undercard. I've done interviews with both of them to announce a Sky Sports Boxer deal, so go check out those ones. Also, my pals like April Hunter, she's on the card. Lewis Ritson's on the card and that as well. You know what, I'll do a separate video on that one. But they've also got another show, which I don't have a poster for yet because I haven't released it yet. Josh Taylor versus his mandatory Jack Catterall. Of course, that'll be for the undisputed super lightweight titles. So that'll be in December in Edinburgh. I believe that's what they said. But I've forgotten the date exactly. Okay, so my bad on that one. But also Sky Sports Boxer, they're going to be doing the Ultimate Boxer Tournament, which is where Ben Shalom and Boxer made their name, really, was the Ultimate Boxer Tournament. So they're going to be doing those as well, plus some other things. So let's go through the entire roster of new stable of fighters for Sky Sports Boxer. Again, it's important to know as well, some fighters have like a fight-by-fight deal. Others have a multi-fight contract with Sky Sports Boxer. Anyway, alphabetical order, let's go through it. Adam Azim, April Hunter, Brad Rhea, Caroline Dubois, Chris Eubank Jr., Claressa Shields, Ebony Jones, Georgia O'Connor, Jermaine Brown, Hughie Fury, Joe Pigford, Josh Taylor, Lewis Ritson, Mikhail Lawal, Nick Campbell, Richard Riakporhe, Savannah Marshall, Scott Forrest, and Stephen USSR Robinson, my boy, my pal. So that's the entire roster. If there's anybody missing, let's go blame Sky Sports and Boxer because they haven't released that information with the images and all that kind of thing, which is how I've got this particular stable of fighters. So overall, what is it that people think about it? Now, is anybody here that they have signed make you go, oh, they could be the next pay-per-view fighter? They could be the face of Sky Sports Boxing, especially if Anthony Joshua does end up leaving. Yes, I've seen the Adam Smith interview where he says that he believes Anthony Joshua is loyal and will continue with Sky Sports going forward. But if he doesn't, is anybody here so far could be the name to become the face of Sky Sports Boxing? Now, one of the things that I spoke about with a couple of these fighters while they're making the decision whether or not to sign with Sky or not was a case of, if you're with DAZN, that's great, okay? Of course, you're going to get paid well anyway. Sky Sports are paying fantastic as well. But with DAZN, you could get lost in the shuffle because there's so many fighters over there. What kind of opportunities are you going to get? How much emphasis on your career? How much one-to-one management are you going to have with Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, for example? If you look at, say, Sky Sports, because they're pretty much starting again, that's probably the best way to put it, where they have the time to look at your career, to have a career plan. And of course, they're in control of everything that happens as well because they are signed to them. They're not signed to Matchroom, they're signed to the platform and Boxer. So they can look at your career and guide out your career. If any fighters need some one-on-one phone calls with, say, Ben Shalom and John Wish, Ed Robinson or Adam Smith, whoever else is involved, it wouldn't be too difficult for them to do. Okay, so I think it's a good move for a lot of fighters. Now, there is some interesting stuff on here, like the women's fighting as well. I'm going to do that in a separate video. Now, as I said, I've interviewed Richard Riakporhe, I've interviewed Stephen Robinson, and I've interviewed Georgia O'Connor. Okay, they're the 3 that I've interviewed so far. There's a few names that I will be getting hold of to conduct those interviews soon. But when you look at, say, for example, Savannah Marshall, you can look at, say, Claressa Shields. Clearly, there's an angle going right there, isn't there? Again, I want to cover that more in depth in another video. You could look at, say, Stephen Robinson and Nick Campbell. Could these two be on a bit of a collision course at some point? In my opinion, they need more heavyweights. Just having 3 heavyweights there with Stephen Robinson, Hughie Fury and Nick Campbell, they need to branch out a little bit more. That's for sure, because obviously the heavyweight division is the glamour division. But again, because Sky Sports they have a partnership with Wasserman, I know Filip Herkovic is going to be on a Matchroom show next in Austria, but obviously Filip Herkovic is signed with Wasserman. So fully expect him to be going with Sky Sports going forward. Okay, much like Chris Eubank Jr. is, of course, a Wasserman fighter as well. So for me, I think that they need a few more heavyweights. But again, this is day one. I know people will be critical because they expect that they have the full stable. It's ready to go there. They have the Manchester United or the Manchester City squad straight away. That's not what's going to happen, okay? They need to build a lot of these fighters. You think all the fighters that are currently on Matchroom came in with a huge resume, with a huge following, with star power? No, that's not what happened. They got built along with Sky Sports, help build them. So that's what they're going to have to do with some of these fighters, and of course more. This isn't just going to be a case of they've signed these ones and that's it, that's all they're working with. Of course not. They're going to be on the lookout for some more. Of course they are. They have to be, right? Because they need to fulfill a lot of dates, okay? Which of course will be announced in due course. So for me, I think it's okay. There's nothing wrong with this one. Of course, I'm going to be very biased with it because obviously there's people on here that I know personally: Stephen Robinson, George O'Connor, April Hunter, Lewis Ritson, and Richard of sorts. Of course, we haven't ever really done like internet conversations, as in audio, like a telephone calls. But I think that it's pretty good. It's pretty good. People will criticize because people will criticize. A couple of fighters, I don't know who they are. I don't know who Adam Azim is. I don't know who Brad Rhea is. I've heard the name Brad Rhea. Joe Pigford, of course, I've heard the name. Jermaine Brown, I don't know who he is. Mikhail Lawal, I don't know who he is yet. But we will, and that's what's important, okay? They can focus on some of these guys. But either way, that's the entire stable of Sky Sports Boxer. So what do you think? Do you think that anybody here, if guided correctly and promoted correctly, of course, could go on to become the face of Sky Sports Boxing? I mean, I know for a fact that Stephen Robinson, he has a multi-fight deal with Sky Sports Boxer, as does George O'Connor, as does April Hunter. I don't know what anybody else's deals are. I have absolutely no clue. But isn't it interesting also that Caroline Dubois is on Sky Sports when her brother is on BT Sport in Daniel? That's also an interesting one as well. So anyway, this is just a start. It's just a beginning. There's going to be some teething problems. It's going to be a little bit of a changing of the guard. That's for sure. Who's going to be the commentary team? We don't exactly know. Who's going to be the master of ceremonies? We don't exactly know yet. I'm sure as the day unfolds, as the week unfolds, we'll find out more and more about all of that. But there's also some interesting elements as well about the women's division, which I'll get into in a second. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.